Before we begin, thank you very much to Joseph B. for joining the Patreon campaign. Thank you so much for the support. A lot of Josephs in my Patreon. Kind of interesting. But thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. You have successfully completed another month. We are 4 months in a row without being able to say my normal intro because you guys have given me a shout out literally every day. You know, and I cannot believe you've kept it going this long. Thank you for it. I poke and prod just to see if it's out of people's systems, but we do all know this can't last forever. I'm enjoying the ride, but you will run out eventually. But until we do, thank you. This has been literally incredible. All right, it is Q&A video time once again. We've got over 100 questions to get through. Like I said, like I always try to do, I try to give everyone an answer. So they might be quick. I might be reading very quickly, so this isn't like a 3-hour video. But thank you. These are all the questions that I got asked in the month of May. If you've got a question you would like to be, you would like an answer to, come July 1st when I do the next one, please leave it in the comments below. Keep it to 1 question per person and try to keep it short. Nothing that's going to take me a long stretch of time to think out an answer to. So like, no, like, how would you make an entire series? You know, that's a whole video question. That is not a quick Q&A question. But let's go over the ones that we got in this month, shall we? So we start off with an obscure transformer I'd like to see it in modern media. A ton of them. Punch Counterpunch comes to mind. Great character they never use. Personal favorite, Rapido from G2. Always like Rapido, but he's a red sports car amongst a sea of more popular and more well-known red sports cars. So the odds of him getting a new figure is not great. Listening to old WTF podcast, 2008 to current, I've been curious what it's like to be selected to be on the show after 10 plus years of experience. So when we first put that cast together, I'm pretty sure I got picked because I was the only one at the time with any podcast experience at all. I was already doing a wrestling podcast at the time. I think the most interesting thing about it has been just seeing how the show has evolved and how the cast peels off. We started with, you know, Vangelis leading 2 different crews, the even team and the odd team. And the even team, we lost Lupus, but the odd team lost everybody. Everyone eventually moved on from the show. And it's just been me, Aaron, and Vangelis for the longest time. We are the survivors. We're the main hosts of every episode now. And those are my brothers. You know, it's weird because, like, you know, Aaron, like, Vangelis I talked to a little bit before then. We knew each other. Aaron before that I had not talked to at all. And now it's just like, I would go to war with these two any given day. So yeah, I mean, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. We ain't done yet either. We're planning what the next episodes are going to be. So keep an eye out. If you haven't listened to the WTF and TFW podcast, go listen. It's more of me. Why would you not want more of me? He says with the only amount of ego he will give himself. Personal favorite alt modes. So for me, the easy ones are tanks. I do love a really good tank. Dragons. Any kind of dragon transformer. When they did Beast Hunters, that was the death of my wallet. It was like, you're telling me a whole line full of dragons? Okay. And then like anything like particularly distinct, just like if you haven't made that kind of vehicle as a transformer before, that's cool. Like maybe not a specific one, but just like, oh, you're just randomly making a lunar rover. Cool, I want it. What's a rare alt mode in Transformers you would want to see more often? Rare is interesting. You do mention aquatic alt modes, which, yeah, that's incredibly rare these days. I wouldn't mind a boat or a battleship. Or, you know, like, even like an aircraft carrier, because we've only got 2 representatives of aircraft carriers. Monster trucks would be my answer. I would love for them to figure out the logistics and the math of trying to make a functional Transformer monster truck. The big tires are very much a debilitation in that, but, you know, there's got to be some way to do it, right? Do you think they could retool Legacy Point Blank into a new Punch Counter Punch? Probably not. That would take, like, to get in a second robot mode into that design, you're talking like a ton of more engineering. A ton more engineering. I think you're more likely to get a new Drift out of it. It's been a long time since we got a Drift toy. least proper, like, IDW drift, not like movie overtly a samurai drift. If there was a definitive 7 Autobots, would you like to see in a Transformer show in every series afterwards? Which ones would they be? This is, again, one of those questions where, like, I'd have to plot a whole thing out. The simple answer is, I don't think there should ever be a definitive cast of Autobots. I think it should rotate and do what's best for the story. If you could tell a better story with Rodimus Prime instead of Optimus Prime at the lead, do it. I don't think every single Transformer show needs Megatron. I don't think every single Transformer show needs Bumblebee. I am perfectly okay letting those characters rest a little bit and giving someone new a chance. So no, I don't think there should be a definitive cast that's in every series. I think that would make the entire thing stale. You know, I like Earthspark because Earthspark is shaking the cast up a lot. You have Bumblebee and Optimus, and that's pretty much the extent of your Autobots, your classic Autobots. And I think that's for the best right now. What's your process when you get a fresh Transformer? How do you make the most out of the experience of the figure for the first time? So for me, a new Transformer is just, it's not any particular environment or time of day. It's mostly just like when I'm chilling out, in front of the computer and I just want something for my hands to do. And I'll just kind of sit there and go through the new gets of the day. My go-to is to try and get it transformed without instructions for the first time. And then depending on how smoothly that goes, I will follow the instructions the next time to see how it was supposed to be done. But yeah, that's my joy in Transformer experiences for the first time is, can I figure out the puzzle on my own, right? But beyond that, it's just seeing what poses I can do, seeing if I can get into my favorite poses, and then it kind of it lives on my desk for a few days, as my fiddle toy, and if I really like it, it spends like a month on my desk, so it kind of varies after the first experience, but yeah, my main thing is trying to figure out the puzzle first without getting the answer. Which Disney era figures would you like to see in Lightning Collection? Oh, man. I didn't watch much Disney era Power Rangers. My easy answer would be just about anything from RPM, because that series was fantastic. It's the one Power Ranger series I picked up. I stopped after Dino Thunder. I picked up RPM because RPM was, looked like it was like a huge thing and fantastic. It was. I watched a little bit of Samurai and went, I don't like Neo Saban era, and I haven't watched Power Rangers since. But yeah, that's my easy answer. Who do you think would be our next Commander class? RID 2001 Prime, Thunderclash. Big Optimus Primes with trailers is a pretty good motif. RID Prime would be a really good choice for Commander class. I genuinely think the next Commander at this point is going to be Tidal Wave, because it just seems like, from what I'm seeing, it looks like Armada Megatron leaves room to have a combiner. I don't want it, but I think that's how it's going to go down. I want it as a Titan. I want it to be huge. Oh, well. We'll get what we get. I don't know. I'm prepared to be let down for my Tidal Wave desires. But yeah, I think Tidal Wave's next. I think the fan demand is too high for him, and the Armada stuff is selling too well. See, not a question. See, how do we feel about the Mainline being treated as almost kid-exclusive line? I got news for you. It always has been. Every Mainline has been a kids-exclusive line. The difference is that they used to make toys that were more geared for adult, more things that adults could also enjoy besides kids. The difference now is kids these days are very easily distracted. Video games, internet, etc. It's hard to get them to pay attention to a toy. That's why you see an abundance of gimmicky toys on the shelves. Those little things keep kids' attention. So that's what they sell. Keep in mind, they wouldn't keep making them if they didn't sell well, right? So obviously they work. And yeah, it's just a matter of just changing with the times. It's always been geared for kids. And frankly, as an adult, you can still enjoy the gimmicky stuff. They make great fiddle toys. It's just a matter of what you enjoy at that point. Which cryptids would you make Transformer characters out of? Which factions would you give them? I don't know many cryptids, to be honest, so I couldn't really answer you. The only one I would wager is Nessie. And that's mostly just because I want, that as a, I want paddles as a Dinobot. That's pretty much the only answer I have for you there. I don't know my cryptids, unfortunately. I can't come up with a crazy good answer. Carlos, I know not all versions of Sideways are the same character. That's the old interpretation. I'm aware they've changed it. I've mentioned in videos in the past that they've changed it. Let's see. Concept or character that was scrapped from a previous series that you would like to be revived in future media. I'm not sure if there's any, scrapped character concepts that would be, in my mind. God, I wish they did that. It's mostly just toy designs that I wish they'd gone through. Things like Marauder Megatron from Animated come to mind. Fantastic design. Transtech Starscream and Cheetor. Fantastic designs. I would have loved to have seen how those worked in physical plastic. If we're talking concepts, there was a concept in G1 where it was vehicles with animal elements to them. That always seemed really cool to me, and I'm kind of upset they never did that. Aerial Convoy, you broke the rule. One question only, but we'll go ahead and do this. Any other franchise or toy line you're also a big fan of currently? Not really. I will pick and choose. There'll be a Marvel Legend once in a while I want. There'll be a He-Man Masterverse once in a while that I want. A Jurassic Park once in a while that I want. The only real, dedicated collection I think I made for myself outside of Transformers recently, or outside of Transformers and Kamen Rider, I guess. I went for all, the Sonic toys. Which started as just wanting the core 4, and then I wanted Rouge, because they announced a Rouge, and then I wanted Shadow and Omega to go with her. And okay, at this point, I guess I'm just gonna get all the main cast. So I've got everyone from Sonic Adventure. That's about the extent of going outside of Transformers for a whole collection. Do I think robot enhanced design subline would be better if they were more done like those import action figures, like SH Figuarts, Figma, Robot Damashi? Robot Damashi maybe, but I'll give you a hint about SH Figuarts, Figma, and even Marvel Legends and Lightning Collection. Those are all done off of one basic buck, a generic body that all the new components for the character are sculpted onto. That's why they're all evenly proportioned. That's why they all have the same engineering level. That's how they make sure that everything stays, in line with each other. That's the only reason why things like Figuarts and Figma work as well as they do. They start off from a generic body. Transformers can't work that way because everyone is unique. So they would not work. They would be far more expensive to do that way because every single piece would have to be unique. I really think Red just underperforms just because, they're not very good at what they do. They just have to have better articulation is all. Do you think there's a chance they could make new re-release figures for Sparkabot and cassettes for KISS players, but under new characters? There's always a potential they could, do something like Selectso homage, but considering it's KISS players based, that's probably a stretch. I don't think they're going to want to touch that. Legally, I don't think they're wanting to touch that area. Obscure combiner team you'd like to see come back in modern media. There's a lot, isn't there? There's a lot. Honestly, I think I'd love to see Magnaboss come back. I would love a Generations Magnaboss, if only so I could have a Skywarp that didn't break. I would give that one a go. I don't think the Beast Wars combiners get a lot of love, and they really should. If you could be a Transformer, what faction would you be? What would your bot alt mode be? I've said it a lot. It'd be like a Maximal Griffin. Because I want to be a Griffin. If not a mythical or creature or a Fusor, definitely something flying like an eagle. But it'd be a Maximal because Maximals really aren't focused on a full-blown war with Predacons. They're more about exploring the universe. That seems more enjoyable to me than battling against Decepticons. That would be my thing. You said you don't like Scizor Scyther's evolution. What do you think if it was a standalone Pokemon or had a different Prevo? If the Prevo was an obvious lobster and Scizor was a water steel type, okay, fine. That said, I still don't like the design. I don't like it because it ruins Scyther, my favorite Pokemon, and I just generally don't like the giant lobster man look either. So that's just a personal preference thing. Why do you think they went with Ghost instead of going with G.I. Joe? Are they saving for their own eventual cartoon series or something else? Probably because Ghost is going to be far more nefarious than what G.I. Joe would be. I don't think they want to, they're already depicting Ghost in Earthspark as a very negative aspect that has like a very shadowy agenda to it. They're not going to tie up G.I. Joe in that. And generally they keep Transformers and G.I. Joe separate for the most parts. So I don't think they're going to, maybe like, not in the cartoons. Let's put it that way. Comic books, fine, maybe movies, but not in the cartoons. Let's see. Do you think modern standards of articulation negatively impact how creative or unique transformations can be? Yes, absolutely. I think the level of articulation we expect now as collectors is the reason why Transformers are so expensive today, because we have artificially inflated the part count, the assembly time, because we want high articulation. But that also limits a lot of what they can do transformation-wise, because now they have to incorporate all these really complex joints into a figure as well. I genuinely believe that once Hasbro finds out the limit to what people are willing to pay for a Deluxe or Voyager Transformer, you're going to see toys with lower articulation as they try to simplify the toys and make them more affordable to produce. That's probably going to be the next budgetary thing in Transformers, is lower articulation. And frankly, I don't think I need tilting ankles on everything. I don't think I need rotating wrists on everything. I do think there's a level that you can tone it down and the toys are still going to be nice and fine. I think we just went way too hard on everything needs to be super articulated, because it really doesn't. Why do you think Masterpiece has barely touched the 86 movie and beyond? Probably because those designs are a lot harder to do and make show accurate. Remember, the 86 cast was designed as characters first, toys second. They were not designed to transform like standard Transformer characters are. You can see it with Masterpiece Hot Rod. He's a big shell former is what he is. I think they haven't touched it just because the designs just don't lend themselves to being show accurate. They're a lot harder to engineer. So that would be that'd be my guess here. Favorite multi-class combo in 5e, a D&D question. I don't multi-class often, so I can't really say for sure. Like, I play a Gloomstalker Ranger, which is also a level 3 champion fighter. For those who don't know Dungeons and Dragons, that means my character can attack 6 times on the first turn and has double the chance of a critical hit. I also have a spell that gives me advantage on every shot, which means I have double the chance of landing that hit. It's a devastating combo that's kind of spoiled the game a little bit because my DM has to account for all the damage I can do. I would basically say, like, just come up with a combo that sounds fun. If you want to have a bard that is also a barbarian, that could be fun. If you want to optimize, make sure both classes use the same main stat. But if you just want to have fun, just pick 2 random and go for it. It doesn't have to make sense. Just has to sound like it'd be a good time for you. Should Sunstreaker be used more often? Yes, because he is the very first Transformer. He was the very first character for the Car Robots subline of Diaclone, which makes him the very first toy designed that would eventually become a Transformer. The reason you do not see him is because he is also a yellow and black sports car. So, you're not, guess why he's not used very often anymore. With the Beast Battlemasters from Rise of the Beast, how would you incorporate them into the show or media? It's kind of a difficult thing to incorporate them, especially the ones who look like the main characters. I don't think they really need to be incorporated. You can make them like robotic pets for a particular cartoon, and like almost work like Target Masters, where like or Minicons, where like everyone's kind of partnered with their like pet assault weapon. They could be fun, but also that means you're going to see Decepticons take shots at the pets. That's not going to upset children at all. I don't think you do. I think it's better to leave them out. Let's see, do you think you could do a list of figures for one reason or another, just never received a second go-around? Princess Matrix, I did this. I did a whole video about molds that were never reused. And it's a pretty extensive list, but even then, it's not even a complete one. I was thinking of like revisiting that and doing a whole other list of like molds that they never gave any kind of repaint or retooling to. But yeah, we've kind of covered that on this channel. We kind of covered that. Go search somewhere in the archive for it. Cross-community Transformers episodes like the Power Rangers Forever Red episode with Optimus Primes, which Primals make sure to make the cut. Mostly just the primary ones. So G1, Beast Wars, RID, Armada, not Energon or Cybertron, much as I love Cybertrons. Movie. He might be the villain of the whole thing, but maybe the movie. That's a pretty basic answer. It's just all the primary primes. Not too complicated like that. As far as a cross-community thing, you'd really have to come up with some like extra dimensional version of Unicron that requires all those primes to battle. But it'd be fun. There's no one to animate it. There's no one to make it, but it'd be fun if they could. Considering their reviews for some third parties, how do you feel about fans' hobbies take on Prime, Overload, Jetfire? I don't watch those reviews because I'm not interested in those toys. So I really have nothing to say. From what I see, they're okay. That's about all I got. Do you remember the Vac Pack figures? I have no idea what you're talking about, Daniel. I'm sorry. Never heard of Vac Pack. Just Lipton, the podcast today. You turned my podcast into tea. All right. But thank you for listening to the podcast. I believe that's the podcast that I recently did about marketing with I'm not but thank you for listening. All right. Oh my God. No. What single crossover toy would you like to see have a do-over? Not an entire line, but a single toy. You pretty much nailed it. I kind of want to see them just try some of those Star Wars Transformers again. There's a lot they messed up on. Let's see. If Hasbro were to both TF Prime Megatron and TF Prime Hardshell in the Legacy toy line, would they need new molds or they retool of Legacy Skyquake? Prime Megatron you'd have to do as a new toy. Like, there's no way of coming close with Skyquake to be his figure. Hardshell too. Like, I don't know why you would think Skyquake could be Hardshell. They're not even remotely close in design. I don't think you're going to see either one because Hardshell is, is too unique to reuse. I'm not counting on either one of them, but they definitely wouldn't be Skyquake. How terrifying do you think it would be if IDW Tarn and Prime Dreadwing teamed up? They wouldn't. Dreadwing is the type of character who's one moral dilemma away from becoming an Autobot. I mean, we almost saw it in Transformers Prime if he didn't get killed off. He wouldn't get along with Tarn. They wouldn't team up. If anything, Dreadwing would be the type that would fight against how violent Tarn was being. So that's one of those things of like when Dreadwing saw a greater wrong going on, he tried to turn on Megatron. I think Tarn would make him turn faster. What do you think Sunstreaker did for Hasbro to not put him in any TV show, film, or game after the 86 movie? What he did was be yellow and black. We went over this before. Do you think if Hasbro pared down the glut of the more gimmicky products on the shelves, they could divert some budget back into the more collector-focused toys? This is not how toys work. This has never been how toys work. And Hasbro's explained this literally for decades. One toy line does not take away budget or attention from another toy line. Hasbro could be producing just two toy lines, and they would still be exactly the way they are now with Hasbro producing 20 or 30. That is not how they work. When you scrap a budget from, every line is its own little capsule. It has its budget, and that's what it is. That's what it gets. Remember, Hasbro is a billion-dollar corporation. They've got money to throw around at these if it was as simple as just adding to the budget. And guess what? If the toys were if they added to the budget and the toys had more money to make them better, they'd be more expensive because they still have to make the same profit percentage. So again, it would not work. That is not how toys work. Yeah, so don't be offended that the gimmicky lines exist or that there's so many Transformer lines, because none of them are taking away from the others. I promise you that. Let's see. In a Godzilla Transformers crossover, how would you go about incorporating the aspects of Cybertronian's war with kaiju? I kind of... So, it's kind of hard. I kind of feel like we could almost do that with Trypticon, because Trypticon is birthed the same way as Godzilla. It's just them trying to go to the biggest extremes possible to fight off their enemies. You know, it's a nuclear war. It's just how big of a robot can we make? I'm not sure, because like the threats and like the tones of Godzilla are so different from Transformers. They're not going to mesh as well as you'd think. You know, I don't know. Like, that's another one that kind of gives me way too much thought. Like, that'd go into like the themes of Godzilla and how Transformers could adapt them. No, that takes a little bit more than I've got time for today. Would it be cool if we got a Transformers Dragon Maid crossover? No. If you like Dragon Maid, I'm sorry, but no. That's just not gonna mix. Same as me. Like, I love Slayers. I would never want Transformer Slayers. They just don't mix. What old gimmick would you like to return in Mainline? It was too invasive to modern articulation and kibble management. How would you adapt to work on more modern designs? There's always a part of me that would love for them to try Pretenders again, if they could actually make the shells do more. I've given my pitch about how to do Pretenders, in a modern toy. I do think it would work. It'd take a lot of engineering and it'd take a lot more parts than they're willing to put into a toy these days, but I think it would work. Beyond that, we kind of do all the classic gimmicks. There isn't really any that was like scrapped for budgetary reasons. I know I was never big on missiles. We've had cockpits with Titan's Return. Like all that stuff is still there. Like none of that is really hurt. So like I'm not really sure there is any gimmick outside of maybe minicons. And as we know, I'm not a big fan on minicons. Do you think the Transformers writers should have Megatron and Soundwave be in a romantic relationship? Happy Pride Month, by the way. No. Keep in mind, like, especially if we're talking like classic depictions of Soundwave and Megatron, when you cause that much chaos and you cause that much destruction and death, I don't really think you have a capacity for love. If Megatron was capable of love, he probably would not be like a mass murderer, I think. Even in depictions like IDW, like it just doesn't fit their character. I don't think you should throw romances onto characters for no reason. I think it should feel natural, and I think it should serve the characters and add depth and improvement to them rather than just being a thing that the characters end up doing. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you gain out of it anything from it, honestly. Let's see. What recent Optimus mold would you think would work best as a Nemesis Prime? The comment below's got it. The War for Cybertron. I love more angular, more powerful looking designs. I don't like just standard G1 Primes as Nemesis. It's hard for me to see him that way. So instead, I like sleek, sharper designs for Prime. If we're talking modern ones, like, honestly, we have a new Armada Prime. He's the original Nemesis. I kind of want to see that back. Favorite Bayverse design? For me, Bone Crusher. I love the uniqueness. I love the vehicle mode. I love that he's just this, like, head hunched, big shouldered, like gremlin looking robot. On skates, by the way. Yeah, that's my go-to. That's my go-to. Always really like Bone Crusher. You get to insert one Transformer character into another show. Prime RC into RID-15, movie Ironhide into Prime, etc. Who do you add, why, and what would they do? There's part of me that would love to insert either Alpha Trion or Elita 1 into the movieverse. So Prime could have a moral compass character, someone to kind of reel him in and maybe go, maybe the good guys shouldn't be mass slaughtering their enemies or you're not trying to give peace a chance. Maybe you're gone a little bit far. The face stealing thing, that might have been a little bit much. Maybe it was a little bit much. So that's my thought. That's my go-to. If you turn around 180 degrees right now and look dead ahead, what toy on your shelf do you see first? These aren't my shelves. You thought I would be answering this at home, didn't you? Aha! I have fooled you. No, if I look at home, the shelf that's directly behind me is my Derek Wyatt shelf, the toys that came out of his collection. And the first one my eyes would fall on would be his animated Swindle, because that is like one of the most important toys to me. And the fact that I get to own like the toy of his favorite character from his collection means the world to me. So that would be it. What would be the ideal price point in alt mode for a Halonix Maximus figure? If Tidal Wave ends up being a commander class, I feel like that is the only way you get away with Halonix. To be like a flying battleship seems like it would be appropriate for his design. And it'd be the only way to like really like make his height appropriate. It's like commander class. Keep in mind, it would have to be generation selects, because there's no other way they're going to be able to make a character that obscure. Who, remember, doesn't even have a name in the cartoon. Halonix came later in the comic books. All right. If Alpha Trion was ever to get a figure in Legacy, or Alpha Quintesson, how the heck would you do it? Yeah, his transformation would have to be a Sharkticon. But truth be told, if Hasbro's going to do it, they'd probably just remold the Earthrise Quintesson. I don't think they'd put that much effort into making a brand new like Alpha Quintesson toy. But yeah, like the only option really would be to just kind of turn him into some kind of like monster bot. You know, there's just a weird one. Ideal alternate faction, not Autobots or Decepticons. Maximal's good. Maximal's good. Like I said, I like their exploration rather than defending the planet Cybertron. It's a more positive direction, more fun sounding direction. If we're going like all out, I would love a quintesson race. I'd love to have a Quintesson faction that was separate from both Autobot and Decepticon. Would make sense story-wise. If they'd made Transformers once, they can make them again, and they can make them subservient and against both factions of Transformers. Have you ever been? Has there ever been a Transformer that had an alt mode or robot mode that was so dumb you had to get it? Have you seen the Scout class toys from Revenge of the Fallen? Because that's basically what all of them are. You've got a biplane, you know, you've got a microscope, you've got a toaster. There's a toaster. There's a forklift, and it's actually really good. The forklift toy is really good. So yeah, a lot of those are just like, wow, that's a really dumb thing to make a Transformer out of. Yes, I will buy it. If you could take any Super Sentai team and make them Power Rangers, what team would you choose? No, I think you nailed it. It'd be Q Ranger. Because the irony is that Bandai of America co-produced Q Rangers because they were sick of these, like toy lines for Super Sentai. They were so Japan-centric, they wouldn't work in America. So they invested millions of dollars into making sure the next Power Rangers show that came out gave them a whole bunch of action figures to make that were all that's why all the Q Ranger, that's why there's so many Q Rangers, and that's why they're all like physically unique from each other. Because Bandai wanted action figures. The irony is that now with Cosmic Force, Hasbro is going to be benefiting from Bandai of America's investment. I kind of love that. But yeah, like I really wish they'd adapt the whole thing. Because it's a lot. I mean, that's a very fun show. Do you have any fun voices you like doing? Truth be told, I'm not an impressionist. I don't have much vocal range. I can do that one weird voice nobody liked. Where I did that one video everybody hated. I can do that. And that's really my only vocal trick. That's why I'm not a voice actor. Because I don't have a whole lot of vocal range. Despite people liking my voice or saying, oh yeah, you've got good acting timing for voice acting. Because I pay attention to voice actors. But it doesn't mean doesn't mean I can act. What's your favorite depiction and or toy of Ultra Magnus? I really like the IDW 1.0 Magnus. I like that he's just like this big stick in the mud for rules who kind of has to learn to be social and kind of learn how to have friends. It feels very appropriate for Magnus. And I like the toy that was based on IDW. I don't like white Optimus with armor. I like big truck that goes straight into big robot. Yeah, and just like the fact that that element was still kept with a brand new character inside the core with Minimus Ambus, I thought that was great. I love that toy. Let's see. What else? As a fan of W and Gaia Memories, what's your opinion and thoughts on Futo PI in general? I didn't get to finish Futo PI because I've been at a time has not been friendly to me lately. But yeah, I liked what I saw. I got to see. I went through like the first story arc, and it's really, really good. I just wish I had the time to finish the series. Do you think Hasbro will do every character from the 86 Transformers movie? Considering they just announced Brawn, who's on screen for about 10 seconds, says 2 words, and then dies? Yes. I think they are liable to do literally every character from the 86 movie. Considering we're getting 86 Snarl, who's only in the movie because of animation errors. Yes, they will do everybody eventually. Collaboration with Transformers and Star Trek, that would be great for having Kirk or Picard traveling to Cybertron. They did that. There's a comic book where Transformers and where the Enterprise and Transformers team up against, I think, Klingons and Decepticons. Kirk pilots a transformable Enterprise. That's a thing. It's a comic book. Go look it up. How many locks could Grimlock lock if Grimlock could lock locks? I mean, Grimlock can lock all the locks. He cannot unlock the locks because he lacks the things to unlock the locks. That's how that goes. Do you think Masterpiece has run out of main characters to do, considering we barely had any Season 3 characters? Or you don't think? I think you're overestimating how major Season 3 characters are when it's the 84 and 85 cast that really sells consistently the best. That's just the honest truth of it is. They just don't, the Series 3 doesn't have as high a demand. Remember, Masterpiece is primarily a Japanese toy line. So they're going to work with what works best with the Japanese market. And for them, that's Season 1 and 2. Season 3 didn't go over so well there. So, see, what is it? Do you think Galvatron gets a raw deal in the animation because of how he might have been portrayed in Season 3 / Osmosis from how Hot Rod was received in the reaction to the movie? I think he gets a raw deal because he's not Megatron. Because he's just not as marketable as Megatron is, both as a character in a cartoon or a movie, but also in the toy department. Because the big execs that buy all this stuff for Walmart and Target, they want to see Megatron in the case assortments, not Galvatron. So I don't think it's so much as a raw deal. I think it's just I just think he's just not as marketable as Megatron is, plain and simple. I'd like to see him more. But I don't think it's due to Hot Rod either, because they make 1 million Hot Rod toys. I think he's actually pretty marketable by comparison. Thoughts on IDW Prowl as the Autobot equivalent to Shockwave? IDW 1.0 Prowl just makes an awesome jerk. A jerk hero of a character. He's very much a Sentinel Prime type, where he is very much about himself and his view of how the Autobot cause works, rather than the view and the direction of his leadership. And yeah, he does come across very much like an Autobot version of Shockwave. I mean, I do think it's kind of it's somewhat appropriate for him, but I feel like it feels like there could be a better character for that. Because I kind of like G1 Prowl being a much more down-to-earth, beat cop type. Out of all the core classes you have, which one is your favorite? Yours is Bomb Burst. I wasn't a big fan of those. Out of the cores so far, which one was my favorite? It's hard to think about all of them and try to narrow it down. I did really like the Rat Trap. I thought the Rat Trap was really well done considering how small it was. What's the other one? Bomb Burst was okay. I really wish his transformation was more involved. I'm trying to think of what all cores we got, man. Yeah, it's memory failing. I will say I do like the Core Seeker too, because I thought that's a really clever twist on this old standard transformation. Do you prefer Splinter being a mutated Hamato Yoshi or a mutated rat? A Ninja Turtles question in this economy? Definitely mutated Hamato Yoshi, because I'd never figured out how a rat has the mental capacity to remember how to be a ninjutsu master. That, like, turtles mutating into, like, 5-foot muscular teenagers with a craving for pizza, that's believable. That a rat can remember ninjutsu, that's too far. No, I think it opens up better story possibilities if Splinter is Hamato Yoshi. Otherwise, he's just a pet rat, you know, and there's not as much stakes to that or history to that. You know, I thought the stuff in the old cartoon of trying to get Splinter back to his human form and, like, conflicts that would lead and the history he had with Shredder as a result, I think that leads to much better storyline stuff than just, oh, he's the pet rat. What would you do with a Decepticon ambulance as a character? That's an interesting one. How do you make a vehicle that is designed solely to help people into a villainous character? I'm not entirely sure. That's actually a really interesting one. The only answers you would have, the only way to make an ambulance evil is to, like, make it bloody. It's like, it's just a really bad ambulance. It doesn't get people there on time. That's difficult. That's really difficult, actually. The closest I've seen is that was oh, what was it? There's I can't remember who it was, but they did a Transformer that was like a hazmat truck, and they made that into a Decepticon. I thought that's actually a nice tone for that. So, like, if you repurpose an ambulance into something like that, that works. Then you can make that work as a Decepticon. What would you use for generation versions of Shatter and Dropkick? What molds would I use? 86 RC for Shatter, Siege Splinter as Dropkick. No. I mean, you wouldn't make one a triple changer and the other one not. You either do both or neither. And I don't think you default every female character to RC as a retool. That does such an injustice to RC to Shatter, because she's such a unique character in and of herself. I think it's insulting to reduce her down to just an RC remold. She deserves way better. In fact, I'd say both of them deserve better. The trick is, there really isn't any good option for them. Like, there's no real deluxe helicopter right now, so I wouldn't do Dropkick. Even in Voyager class, there's really not a whole lot of good helicopter figures that I can think of. You know, it's a vehicle mode we haven't really touched in a long time. For Shatter, I think your best bet for Shatter would be to just wait for a new Slipstream toy and let them be retools of each other with different wing configurations. You know, and then you work in, like, elements of her muscle car into the robot mode. I think that's how you have to work those characters. Yeah, but RC is absolutely the wrong choice for that character. A crawler vehicle would make a good alt mode for Grandis. Yeah, especially if you had, like, Galaxy Shuttle to go on top of it or something. Do you think Studio Series will dip into Transformers Prime? No. Studio Series goes for movie studios, gaming studios. Animation studios are a thing, but that's pretty much what Legacy and Generations are doing. Yeah, you're not going to see Prime in Studio Series. You're going to see that in Generations, you know. See, what are your thoughts on Osama Sentai King Oger so far? Haven't seen a single episode of it. I did pre-order DX Tarantula Knight because it looks awesome as a toy. But yeah, honestly, I have not had the time to pay attention to it. Of all the gimmicks used in Transformers over the years, which is your favorite and which is your least favorite? The least favorite, probably Pretenders. That's why I want them to try again so badly, because I think there's merit to it, but it was executed so poorly. As far as favorites go, I usually say Cyber Keys, but that's not fair because every key unlocked a different style of gimmick. I'd probably go Headmasters just as a generalized gimmick. Headmasters always provide a lot of fun and interactivity. What's your favorite modern generations figure from War for Cybertron or Legacy? I'm still really high on the Gamer Edition Optimus Prime. I will say that. But as far as, like, general Legacy goes, Cyclonus. I am still amazed at how perfect that toy came out, in that I'm not sure a Masterpiece could really do better. I mean, I'm sure it could, but ultimately, like, the toy is fantastic. It does literally everything it needs to do, and it does it all really, really well. Still waiting patiently for your HasLab Unicron review. I've been so quiet about it because I haven't been planning for one. It's too big. I don't even have, like, appropriate staging area for that. I can't do it here on the glass countertop because it's a 25, 26 pound toy. This is glass. I can't do it on here. So, if only to avoid scratching up the glass. So I literally, like, I don't even know how to stage a review like that, you know? So I don't know how to even do it. Let's see, collab between Transformers and Warhammer 40K. That's, again, two incredibly different tones I don't think would actually work. I know 40K has got some really cool looking vehicles for some of its factions, but I'm just not into Warhammer, I'll tell you that. Weird question. Since G1 alt mode was a gun and he could be used as a weapon by troops, would that make him the first ever Target Master? No, because he didn't, like, Target Masters are supposed to be, like, bonded to the Transformer that they are a weapon of. Like, it's supposed to be a much more powerful weapon with the two combined. That's not what Megatron did. I know that's a nice comparison a lot of people like to make, but I don't think it's as one-to-one as that. If Megatron was a Pokemon, would he be a Megantiumtron or a Yon Megatron? No, he'd be a Megaton, evolved from a Megamite. Same color scheme, after all. If you had the option to erase any, and I mean any, Transformer from a TV show, who would you delete? Who would it be? I'm trying to think if there's anyone I could delete from a Transformer series. The twins, because guess what? They are one. You said character, and they are. They are one character. Yes, delete the twins. I'm perfectly happy with that. Favorite Weird Beast Wars character that you know won't get a toy, but still want one made. Oh my god, the list of them. I had a Bantor as a kid. I'd love to see another Bantor. They'd never make it, but I want it. Man Terror, or a Snapper, because favorite animals come into play. Do another, like, Karada Snake Transformer. That was such a fun one. Yeah, like, there's a lot. There's a lot to that. How would you make the Dinobots more developed as individual characters? I think some of the comic books and cartoons lay down the groundwork for this. I think you make I think you give Grimlock the tactical intelligence he has in the Marvel comics, but with still, like, the me Grimlock thing. Because they kind of split the difference. He kind of has a speech impediment going on, but he's very smart and tactical. So he makes a good leader. And he's egotistical, of course. Swoop being the super intelligent one works. I really love that in Cyberverse. Girl Swoop still best Swoop. Slug works as the hothead. Sludge works as the dumb one of the group, the dumb lug of the group. And I think Snarl would kind of be like your quiet, like, one that kind of, like, that keeps everyone in check. Like does not speak much, but when he speaks, everyone pays attention. And he kind of keeps Grimlock and the others from going too far off base. Like, he's the glue that holds the team together. That's kind of where I put the Dinobots. Let's see. Do more collabs with 80s nostalgia. Knight Rider comes to mind. I mean, Knight Rider, yes, but you're talking about super obscure vehicles. Really, only from Knight Rider, the only one anyone cares about is Kit. And at that point, he's just a Pontiac Firebird with a light bar in front. Like, visually, he's not that special. Let's be honest here. Do you think Fantasticar could work as a Marvel crossover figure where each part is a different member of the Fantastic Four? Potentially, if they're still making Marvel crossovers. You'd have to make sure that is split up very well so that Ben Grimm is the largest chunk of it. And somehow you have to make one chunk the same size as the others in vehicle mode, but still turn into Sue Storm, who's much thinner. That'd be hard. Also, like, how do you do Reed Richards without, like, I guess you kind of do, like accordion arms, like Bone Crusher, in order to make his stretch gimmick work. You can make it happen. We need a My Little Pony Transformers collab, like that rumor that was mentioned. I didn't remember mentioning it. I don't know about a rumor where that was happening. The only ones they did was ponies painted up as Optimus and Bumblebee. I don't really think we do need a collab like that. Because, okay, you make a transforming pony. Okay, what do you do after that? Do you make a whole faction of them? Because that's all you have is ponies. Everyone turns into a pony. What combiners should be done next? Personally, I want Lio Kaiser. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at, too. Lio Kaiser is probably the most major combiner that has not been done yet. Yeah, and yeah, I think it's the most obvious one to do next. I'm sure, we're getting a Dino King, which is also going to put people in mind for Monstructor. But that's, yeah, I'm of the same opinion. It should be Lio Kaiser next. Though I really do think for the 40th, the next one's going to be Devastator again. Would you be on board with the complete selection modification of Stronger's belt? Hello? Yes? Is that even a question? What gimmick in all of Transformers history is absolute favorite? We kind of went over this. I'd probably say Headmasters if I have to pick one. Favorite, how do you want to do this to date? I'll speak of personal experiences. This is D&D again. So my Barbarian is a turtle that is spec'd for speed. My Turtle Man is the fastest one of the group. Base speed is 50. As a bonus action, he can dash, which means he can make it 100 feet. We had a Archmage, a really despicable one, who was making a run for it while we were in the middle of fighting a whole bunch of his other traps and monsters. My character sees him bolt out the door. So, full movement, all the way to the door, zigzagging across the traps that laid in the hallway, down the stairs. I get to 100 feet right in front of him, plant my Warhammer straight into his gut and double him over. How do you want to do this? All right, attack 1. I'm crushing his sternum. That knocks him down to the ground on his hands and knees. And with my second attack, I'm going to flip my hammer upside down and smash his hands. Because that's how you disarm a Archmage. I spent weeks hoping I would get to do that, and I absolutely got to do that. And the fact that it was a gigantic Warhammer wielding turtle sprinting 100 feet through a hallway downstairs in order to ram into this guy full force. It's the most beautiful visual I have ever created, and I love it. What's your opinion of fellow Transformer toy reviewer Jobby the Hong? I do not really discuss other Transformer reviewers. One, because I really don't watch too many others, but also because I really don't want to, this feels like a question, trying to stir up drama. All I'll say is I've seen some of Jobby's stuff, and it's just not my thing. I'm just going to leave it at that. For me, it's not my thing. Which Armada character do you want to see in Legacy most? I think we've pretty much said this many times. I want Tidal Wave. Out of all of them, Tidal Wave or Armada Sideswipe, or Sideways, I think are the most deserving. Do I still have Cult of Kevin Bacon's leather jacket? Holy cow, how do you remember that? Yes, I do. I still have that. It's actually my dad's old leather jacket. It's still hanging up in my closet in case I ever need it again. I mean, I still have the fingerless gloves. I still have the spike collar. What I do not have are the original shades. I think I left them at a restaurant, and it's many years ago. Also, how would you do Transformer Henshin Hero series? Master Force comes close. I think that's really your answer. I think you just kind of do it like Master Force. Smaller characters transform into something that can power up the larger vehicles. Otherwise, I don't think you could really make it work the way Digimon did as a Henshin Hero. It just doesn't work for giant robots. Because that adds kind of like a magic element to it. It's weird. What is the most unbearably average Transformer figure you've encountered that's not even bad enough to be considered for Plastic Addict? There is no such thing as too bad to be on Plastic Addict. Unbearably average? I did one video once where I said I was looking for the middle, the most middling Transformer I've ever encountered. At the time, I said Classics Hot Rod. Because it's not doing anything wrong, but it's not doing anything great either. It's not the most engaging figure. It's kind of doing everything kind of basic. It's really nothing about it that's thrilling in the least. I think it's a very, very mid figure. But yeah, I've never said oh, this is just too boring for Plastic Addict. I've always, if it's bad enough for Plastic Addict, I'll make it work. Let's see. Who wins the war? Energon, Scorpion, and the Terracons with Energon weapons, or Megatron and his Viacon generals with access to the key to Vector Sigma? Keep in mind, the Terracons are not natural animals. They are 100% mechanical. So the key to Vector Sigma is not a threat to them. Yeah, I think the Terracons win just because the animals are going to be more mobile than the tanks and the motorcycles. Just more versatility. And probably more of them too, now that I think of it. See, until this moment right now, what's the newest toy in your collection? Oh my god. What is the newest one? What's the newest thing I grabbed? Man, like you'd think I'd be a little bit more like aware of this, but like off the top of my head, I can't remember what I got most recently. Why am I blanking on that? Because I've had a lot of things come in lately. And now they kind of blur. Man, I think the last thing I grabbed, the last kind of things I grabbed were just like Rise of the Beast toys, like some of the like the Smash Changer Primal. You know, it's nothing thrilling, it's nothing exciting. It's just kind of like something I grabbed for a video. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer than that, but like that's pretty much what I got. Favorite Cybertron in alt mode, IDW Comics, War for Cybertron G1. Cybertron Crumble Zone. Like the more I think about that, like just this gigantic 3-wheeled car with just like one little like race car dome and just gigantic jet engines off the back. The more I think about that design, the more like that's a really cool design. That looks really awesome and unique. Do you feel like Hasbro and Takara are too focused on getting as many repaints for one mold as possible? No. Because remolds and repaints ensure that they make money off of Transformers. Because most of the time they don't do it off the first run of a figure unless it sells huge and they can get away with multiple runs of it. I don't think they're too focused on it because once again, those things don't take away from the other Transformers they release. If anything, they help fuel the money that pays for the other lines to be made. No, I don't think they focus on that too much. You know, if anything, there's plenty of repaints out there they've never really touched that I feel like they should have. Let's see, how do you imagine Energon smells? Do you know that ozone smell when it's just about to rain? I think it's that, but more intense. You know, like you can, like, how, like, that ozone kind of gives you a feeling there's, like, an energy in the air. That's kind of where my brain goes. Holy crap, you answered my questions. Yes, I did. Because I'm trying to answer literally everybody. Why not do the new Patreons at the end of the video with the old intro at the beginning of the video? Because one, it spoils the joke. But two, also, if you pitch into my Patreon, you deserve to have your name up front where people will actually see it, because people will tune out during the outro. So I don't want to put you there. You know, if you pitch in, if you're new to my Patreon, you get a shout out before I do anything, because that's what you deserve for helping me out. Wasted my question saying, missed the stream because I didn't think the comments post-stream would be asked. I don't do these as a live stream. I just read the comment section. So you didn't do anything wrong. Don't worry about it. Just leave a question for next month. I answered this one by mistake because I didn't realize it was part of this video. Have you still got the Shotbuster shirt from BotCon 2010? Yes, I do. I don't know where it is, but I didn't throw it out. It's somewhere. Hey, I'm going to McDonald's. Do you want anything? Semi-time sensitive question. By semi-time sensitive, do you mean I can answer you 4 weeks later and you'd actually get me something? Because I could really go for a chocolate shake right now. Not even lying. Favorite candy? Not really big on candy. If I'm in a candy mood, it's usually like mini M&Ms or anything white chocolate. I like my white chocolate. What Hot Wheels car would you like to own that is not real world? Honestly, I don't know Hot Wheels very well. I couldn't tell you like a specific car. I as a kid I had one Hot Wheel that was just like one like really bright gold chrome with a black dome top that looked like super futuristic and cool. Maybe that one. Why do you like Blitzwing? I did a whole video about why I like Blitzwing. To answer it very, very quickly, I really love how ambiguous he is at the end of Five Faces of Darkness. That he actually had character development, that he left the Decepticons willingly to help all Transformers, but he still didn't agree to join the Autobots. So I really like that he made a stand for the good of everybody, and there's consequences to it. But it still didn't change exactly who he was to the point where he's going to be a good guy. Yeah, it makes him fascinating. It makes him very unique in Transformers. My thing cuts this off. Can I let's see, can I drag this up? Yeah, there we go. If you answer this question, you will be the best YouTuber of all time. Oh my god! I'm going to answer it. So am I the best YouTuber of all time? Where's my play button? Where's my diamond play button? I'm sure it's in the mail. What is the best and worst soda of all time? It's not the last question. It's not even a Transformer question. The worst sodas I've ever had have been those like holiday sodas that come out. They're always like turkey or like Thanksgiving stuffing flavor. They're like literally just like, they taste like the bottom of a garbage disposal. Like, I don't know why anyone makes those or why anyone buys them. But for best soda, I don't drink soda anymore. Hydrate or dihydrate. I've been nothing water for years. But when I was doing soda, my favorites were usually like Mellow Yellow as a kid. Mountain Dew Whiteout. If they ever go back and do Mountain Dew Whiteout again, I will break my I will break my soda streak, and I will be back to soda for a little bit. Yeah, those are the answers. Man, and I had to split this into 2 parts, so offhand, I don't even remember. I don't even realize how long we've been going from this. But thank you, everyone who left a question. Remember, again, if you have questions, do you want to be answered in the next one? Please leave them in the comments below. 1 per person. Only 1 per person. And try to keep it to something I don't really have to think about too hard, because we got to keep it moving so everyone gets their question answered. So, thank you again. Thank you for watching. Leave your questions for next month, and I will see you next time.
We're gonna have to get your names for the books. You, pair 1.
William Current.
Roll me a deception check.
I thought their name was Pain.
Roll a disadvantage.
Okay.
That was like the opposite of the help action there. You, Goblin.
First name D's.
Watch your tongue.